Desmond Ritter throws a touchdown on cue.
Yeah.
They're on the board. So just when we start to kick him when he's down, he shows life. Pulls the Michael Myers move and sits up. There you go. All right, so 17-7 right now overseas. We'll come back to that score, but we got some other action going on, right? First, let's talk about Thursday night. Big divisional matchup, Detroit, Green Bay, and it was all Detroit. Everybody expected a tighter game than this. We didn't get that, right?
I didn't. I had Detroit winning handily, simply because the Lions defense showed up.
Yeah, it was a real interesting matchup. I didn't expect them to shut down Jordan Love so bad. We saw him struggle against the Saints. The Saints are a different animal defensively than Detroit. Detroit's got a good defense, but it's not the Saints' defense.
No.
They were shut down.
Yeah. No, I was impressed. I mean, I thought Green Bay at home Thursday night, you kind of rely on that running game for Green Bay to open up things for Jordan Love. I expected a tight contest. Just really, really impressed with Detroit. I mean, if anybody thought that the week 1 win over Kansas City was kind of a fluke, no Chris Jones, the receivers situation dropped Kansas City. For me, Detroit really impressed me. And I take them as a serious contender and a serious contender in that division as well. I mean, that's a division that's theirs to lose. And Dan Campbell and that crew are just doing a really good job. And kind of like what Greg was saying, just kudos to Aaron Glenn and that defense showing up, man. It's a really, really big win. They put the NFL on notice for real with that win if they hadn't done it already.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what they said, I believe that game for Detroit was basically their calling of saying, like, we're here, like, this is no more losing team. This is our division run. And I expected Green Bay to kind of fall off a little bit with the injuries of the offensive line and everybody not healthy. But I didn't expect Detroit to just run away with that game like that. And besides the game, Jordan Love actually kind of impressed me a little bit, coming back a little bit. So I think Green Bay has a future there, but it's Detroit's division to win this year.
Indeed. I watched as much of this game as I could. I was coaching a JV game most of the first half, so I only saw the scores. But when I came after the game, I had it on driving, and like I said, you started to see a little life from Detroit, from Green Bay, late in the second half when they were down big, similar to what happened versus the Saints. You go, whoa, can they pull it off 2 weeks in a row? No, they can't, because Dan Campbell is not Dennis Allen. Dan Campbell will take chances. Dan Campbell will not just sit there and go, we're in field goal range, we're just going to take a kick. Dan Campbell is going to step on your throat. That's what makes him a better head coach than Dennis Allen, in my opinion. That's why there was no comeback like you saw against the Saints, because when you're down, he's going to keep you down. And kudos to the Detroit Lions. They needed that, right? You got the big win against Kansas City, you had the tough loss the week after, and to come back and get on the back on the winning ways. I think right now what you're looking at is a Detroit team who's positioning themselves now as the top of the NFC North and trying to entrench themselves there and saying, we're not giving this division up. It's our division. We're going to make a playoff run. It starts by somebody coming to Detroit. So kudos to Dan Campbell for taking control of this division early, right? And now he just has to go out there and continue this for a whole another 3 quarters of the season. But definitely, we're going to move on to some of the other matchups. Tampa Bay, New Orleans, big matchup this week. 2-1 teams battle for the top of the division, especially with Atlanta right now struggling overseas. Jacksonville has the ball, by the way, up 17-7 in that matchup. So winner of this game is going to be most likely be in first place in the division. Sole possession. Tampa Bay's defense has been great. New Orleans' defense has been great. Both suffered tough losses. Of course, the loss to the Eagles on Monday night for the Bucs, but the Saints giving one away to Green Bay. They could easily be undefeated right now. Yeah. Okay? So giving one away to Green Bay. How do you guys feel about this?
Derek Carr apparently is going to play.
Yeah, but for how long? I was going to say, for how long? And I think for Baker Mayfield, the feel-good story, if he wants it to continue, you got in this game. I mean, you're playing up against a wounded animal in New Orleans with no Derek Carr or with him playing, but playing limited, and you know how long he's going to be out there. I think it's a good chance for the Buccaneers to get a win and get back on the right side of things.
What are we saying, Greg?
Oh, well, Derek Carr apparently is going to play. How much, like Joe said, is beyond us. But Jameis Winston comes back to Tampa Bay. I think Alvin Kamara being back for the Saints is a huge, huge deal for the Saints. That's going to be a big, big killer for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers today. And again, the Saints defense is a real NFL defense.
Yeah, their defense is probably one of the best in the league. I say top 5, in my opinion.
Yeah. Honestly.
Yeah.
So probably like I see that like Baker Mayfield, like all of that, like Joe says, the feel good story if he can continue what he's doing, but you're going up against the Saints, the defense is really tough, and Alvin Kamara actually coming back is going to definitely hurt the Bucks' chances of winning this game.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. Both of these teams are very good defensive teams. I worry, and even with Carr playing injured, whether it's him or Jameis, the mentality of the head coach in New Orleans makes this a very dangerous matchup for them because Tampa Bay can still move the football. They did it against this defense last year. With Mayfield, without Mayfield, doesn't matter. They can move the football. They can play tough defense. So this will be a close game. And then it comes back down to the head coach, right? They play too conservative. They've put so much into this offense, right? You get Chris Olave, right, who's an excellent deep threat, excellent young receiver. You have Michael Thomas back, who's supposed to be your go-to guy, your 100-catch guy, right? You're getting Kamara back, who's your matchup nightmare. You're getting all the weapons in this offense back that you really want. A couple of gadget players like Taysom Hill in there. But where is this offense that we were supposed to see? You finally got the quarterback, right? Well, we got Derek Carr. We finally got the quarterback we want. Where's this offense we're supposed to? We haven't seen it yet. It's still this muddling along offense that can't seem to put enough big plays together on the field. They're just muddling along, controlling the clock, controlling the tempo, and letting their defense control the game.
I'd agree with that. All good points.
That's not the recipe in New Orleans with this team that you supposedly built, right? So there's a lot of contradiction with how this team is being built, with how it's performing, and the philosophy that it's performing under. And it could be their downfall. I'll be honest with you. They could get swept by Tampa Bay this year. If they come out here today in the Dome and they blow it against Tampa Bay, there's no guarantee you come to Tampa Bay and win. So, and that could be your division. So they really have to get this win at home. They have to be able to do it in a fashion where it's not a last-second field goal. You're not a last-second defensive stand. They got to have some kind of controlling force in this game where they are owning it versus Tampa Bay, and they are basically making Tampa play outside of themselves, just like Philadelphia did, right? Shutting down their running game, making Baker throw for 300 and 400 yards and to have this superior performance where they're actually scoring enough to stay in the game. If you're not doing that, you risk losing to Tampa Bay because bully ball is how Tampa Bay survives. They love when you're going knuckle to knuckle because that's Todd Bowles' kind of game, right? Yeah. But when you're going those haymakers and hitting them with everything and flurries, and they can't keep up. And that's where you got to hit them. And New Orleans is not playing that way. They're not being coached that way. So that's one of the problems for me is how do you go out there and play that kind of game that you've been playing and think that you're just going to beat Tampa Bay just because you're in the Dome?
Derek Carr needs to just ignore Dennis Allen. He needs to ignore Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
Bottom line.
Man. Yeah, it's hard. And like I said, covering Tampa Bay, I've seen it. We talk about the matchups, but if you're New Orleans, you can't do that. That's what got you
Who's
in
the
trouble.
OC in New Orleans? I can't remember. Who's the OC in New
It's
Orleans right now?
Carmichael, ain't it? I heard
Oh,
I think that's the problem right there. We can't even name him.
I'm horrible with names, so when the guys, I can see his face right now in my mind. I just can't put the name.
But if he was, my point, I guess, is if he was an elite caller or getting this team to play the kind of offense we expected to play with the roster he has, his name would be on the top of our tongue, top of our minds.
Well, the funny part was he was the coordinator when Peyton was there, but the problem was Peyton had the call sheet and was calling the plays.
Yeah.
So you were a coordinator in name only, and then now you got the full
Pete Carmichael. Carmichael.
I know Carmichael was the last name, but
Well,
the
he's
first
been
name
there
was
for a while, a long time.
Yeah, he was there when he was Sean
Yeah.
Payton. He was listed as the coordinator. He does a lot of stuff, but when Sean Payton was there, Sean Payton called the plays. Sean Payton give up that call. Him and Bill Parcells are very controlling when it comes to certain things. Bill Parcells always had a hand in play calling. Right? No matter who his coordinator was, I'm going to be calling plays. So Sean Payton's of that mindset. So Carmichael, ever since he took over, this offense has been muddling. It just is what it is. You can run the same scheme as somebody. There are a lot of guys that coached under Walsh that were West Coast that were never as good as Walsh calling a West Coast offense. So you can go through a lot of offensive systems. It's the same way with a lot of disciples. He's the Sean Payton guy. He came up under Payton, just like Lombardi. Lombardi was the Sean Payton guy. Came up under him. They run a very similar offense, very Air Coryell-ish, but you're not seeing it. There's no explosive plays in this Saints offense right now. And even adding Kamara to the mix, you're hoping that he can provide some of it. But they have got explosive playmakers on this team. They just can't seem to do it. So we're going to figure it out. Update from overseas right now. Atlanta driving again, 1st and 10 at their own 7-yard line. So right now it's it may be an interesting matchup by the time we get down to the fourth quarter there overseas. So far, still 17-7 as we check in from there. Moving on to the next matchup, we're going to talk about Baltimore and Cleveland. Another divisional matchup here. And we have somebody in the house who knows about those Baltimore Ravens. So, Ken, why don't you start us off with this one?
I feel like this is a tough game for Baltimore, especially after last week, after the game, the poor offensive play, turnovers, just a lot of stuff went on last week to the loss to the Colts, in which they should have blew that game out by 15 or 10 points. But this could be a very interesting matchup because I think the Ravens would rather play Deshaun Watson this week, a healthy 50% Deshaun Watson than a healthy DTR, because DTR can actually use his legs when his first, second, or third read is not there. And I believe that's going to be challenging for a Ravens defense that's already struggling on the back end with David Ojabo and Odafe Owe out for the game. So the Ravens pass rush is not going to be there. We're dependent on a bunch of undrafted free agents and old veterans. But I think this would be an interesting matchup for the Ravens. I expect Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers to have a huge day of connection. Gus Edwards is back, Justice Hill is back, so I expect the Ravens to run the ball and them to use a lot of design runs for Lamar Jackson today.
Gotcha. Greg.
Good luck to Baltimore with the Cleveland defenses. Myles Garrett is going to run wild because there's no Staley on the offensive line yet again for the Ravens. And this Cleveland defense has just been phenomenal all year, and especially in their back end. So who is Lamar going to find open downfield? Because he doesn't have Bateman, he doesn't have Beckham. Zay Flowers, just a rookie, and Mark Andrews. Well, that was the whole problem last year, was all you had was Mark Andrews. So Baltimore's in trouble.
Yeah, this is going to be a really big test for the Ravens. I mean, like we talked about, you're going up against one of the best defenses in the NFL. I think also Cleveland's defense, top 3, top 5, in my opinion. So we're going to find out a lot about this Baltimore Ravens. Definitely sucks not having OBJ, but hey, NFL, next man up. Yeah, he's a rookie, but you picked Zay Flowers as high as you did for a reason, so we'll see what we need to do. Everybody in Baltimore was gushing over this new offensive coordinator and kind of giving Lamar Jackson a chance to play quarterback more and open up and show some skill. All that's going to be put to the test extremely with this game. So it should be exciting. I mean, the one caveat I think that if you got to have if you're the Ravens is Cleveland starting a rookie quarterback. Yeah, he's mobile. He can make some plays happen, but at the same time, you should be able to confuse him a little bit, maybe get some turnovers, get you in a better position as far as having a shorter field. But the challenge is definitely going to be more on the Baltimore side than Cleveland.
Indeed. I'm going to tell you this much. Yeah, this Baltimore offense is struggling. And yes, there were injuries and a couple of big issues for the Ravens offensively. It's funny, Ryan Stanley's out. It's made such a difference in that offense. I remember when he was being drafted, there was a lot of criticism about Stanley. Does he love football? Is he really going to be the top 10, worth the top 10 pick? Is he going to bust? He's been the premier left tackle for the Ravens since he's been drafted. He's been a key main cog in that offense. When he's been out, that offensive line has struggled. I think the best that offensive line looked when he was out was when they still had Orlando Brown Jr., who was able to fill in at his left tackle spot. Now, you're looking at it and you're going, when he's not out there, their offense ain't the same. Well, you can go down that whole list of injuries. You talk about Beckham, Bateman. Well, these are your big play threats on offense, right? You're missing your premier rusher in Diggs. I mean, not Diggs.
Dobbins.
I'm getting the D name.
But was OBJ really the premier playmaker for the Ravens? I mean, he's kind of been. I don't know. He gets like one big game and it's like a 15-yarder. I still haven't really seen the explosiveness from this.
They
Baltimore
paid him
offense.
for January. They paid him for that February playoff ball. That's his contract is worth to show up in the playoffs. I think that's what they want him to do.
Yeah, he hasn't been there, so you haven't seen anything because he hasn't played. He's been hurt, right? Yeah. So it's right now. How's this offense growing? It's not. The loss last week was just dreadful. It's everybody has those losses in a 17-game season. It's a sprint, not a marathon. I get it, but they haven't had an overwhelming victory yet. That's a big problem. Everything's been a dogfight. You can't go through 17 dogfights. You can't do it. And we mean in the aerial version, not the Michael Vick version. Okay, so just clarifying for those out there, the dogfight. No. It's about the old school aerial version, not the Michael Vick version. All right, so you can't go through 17 of those. You can't do it. Injuries, everything's in a breakdown. You're going to start to lose games you should win in those scenarios. So Baltimore's got to start separating themselves from opponents. What better to do it against a division opponent who's wounded as well, right? We talk about Dominique Thompson-Robinson making the start today at quarterback. No Nick Chubb, who has successful surgery and may be back before the season's over. So if I want to catch Cleveland, I want to catch him now, not later. So this isn't really pressure on Baltimore to go, you know what? We need to separate ourselves from these guys. We can't let these dogs hang around. So this is the time to go get them right now. But they're wounded. We're wounded. But we're used to being wounded with the guys we're playing with. They're not. They're not used to being out there without their supposed leader, Deshaun Watson. They're not used to being out there without their lead running back, Nick Chubb. Go and get them now. So I'm going to tell you right now, I'm still worried about this Baltimore offense. Granted, they got better leadership in Todd Monken than they had with, of course, Greg Roman, which I think was who was gone 2 years too late. He should have been going way before that. But I think they're another one of those teams that we like being defensive-minded, controlling the tempo, running it. Your head coach is still a very defensive head coach. He's never had an air-it-out offense there in Baltimore. It's always been running game and control passing and play great defense. Well, at some point, you got to let that special quarterback be special and not just running the football.
Right.
So, but you got to have the weapons to do it. Those guys are still hurt, no deep threats. I think what they're going to have to do is get other guys involved, right? We got Zay Flowers, but you know what? You don't have one explosive tight end. You have two, right? Because you have Isaiah Likely,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
So you get Isaiah Likely involved. Move him around, create matchups. That's how you take advantage and move the football, right? Against teams, you start utilizing guys who are just special matchups. You create matchups for them. You got to get those other runners back. Great. That helps your running game without Dobbins. But the passing game is where you need the help. You got to create things in the passing game. You seem to do that for Zay Flowers, but there are other guys like Likely you could do that with. He did it in Georgia with Bowers and Washington, right? So you could do it with the two tight ends you have here now in Baltimore.
You think you guys pull out the win here, Cams? How do you feel, Kaz? You think the Baltimore can pull this off?
I think it just all depends on how the coach staff goes into the game. If they go in with the same run pound, short pass, Cleveland's just going to sit back and let that. But they got to be more aggressive, take some chances, take some deep shots. Like Jeff said, use Isaiah Likely, use Mark Andrews, let Zay Flowers, use Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. Todd Monken was brought here for a reason, so it's time for him to open his gadget playbook and design something. So I believe it'll be a close game. Every AFC North game is going to be close. I predict 23-21 Ravens, or on the other side, I'll take 19-17 Cleveland.
Of course. Hey, Christy, we see you. Christy, you got to come on one week, hang out with us in the morning, talk some Chicago Bears, get out the frustration, It's
a safe place.
Yes. Listen, we encourage. We have all these people that cover the teams. We got to get you on here and talk some NFL action. So, by all means, come on in the morning and tell us your feelings on the matchup. We'll make sure we throw the Bears matchup on there and give you a chance to vent. Once again, it was still 17-7 overseas right now in the third quarter. The Falcons drove up the midfield, got a penalty, and punted. So, but to be honest with you, Bijan Robinson's come alive in this game. He's almost at 100 yards. What was shocking me about that game overseas, Trevor Lawrence, just 146 yards passing. So, they're controlling the big blonde. So, yeah.
I'm sorry, but I was never as high on Trevor Lawrence as everybody else was in his draft year. I'm sorry. But, hey, it is what it is. He was the first overall pick and all that other jazz. But Trevor Lawrence played such a soft schedule in college that when he came to the pros, he was going to be exposed, and he has been. He has been exposed.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Definitely has. Yeah. Clemson definitely has that Georgia-esque schedule where there's no real big game until the playoff.
Yeah. Their biggest game was Notre Dame. Biggest game over 4 years was Notre Dame.
Yeah.
And you know how Notre Dame handles big games.
That was the Brian Kelly Notre Dame Fighting Irish, by the way.
Marcus Freeman carries his traits sometimes here and there.
No, Jeff, it's in the air and halls.
Jeff and I will be talking to Marcus. We're personally going to have a conversation with Marcus because,
Well, you just sent him the clip that we just did on the last word of me talking about Marcus Freeman.
Exactly.
And that's all he needs to hear. But I think I beat up on him enough for the morning, even though he won. I think I beat up on him enough for the morning. But Christy, we're going to take you up on that. Even if it just means you pop in for 10 minutes, you sneak off to the bathroom and pop in for 10 minutes and say hi to us. We got to give you a chance to come on and say hello. We always talk about getting you on. We got to make people believe you're more than just a graphic. So we're going to get to see you enough. So, so we've got through all the matchups so far. We're going to talk some more before we get into rapid fire and go through all of the scores and the picks and all the good stuff. But right now, I'll give you a chance to let's do it next week. Definitely. I'm going to hold you to it. Joe, we're going to hold you to this one.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's on the screen now, so seeing it.
Yeah. There you go. We got commitment ready. All right, let's make sure Ashby is on board with that, so we don't forget about it next week. All right, so we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be back with more of Moving Chains. We'll be right back.
Hey, football fans, we have a great offer for you from one of our newest partners, FanDuel Sportsbook. Sign up now for a new FanDuel account by using our special link located in the description, and you will get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That means that you can bet up to $1,000 on your first wager risk-free. FanDuel will give you the amount you wagered back in free bets if you lose. So go ahead and bet on your favorite team this Sunday, and even if they lose, you are taken care of. To claim this special offer, just click the link in the description and create a new account. Then, make your first bet on whatever you like. That's it. Win some money at FanDuel today.
We're back. We're moving the chains, and all right, we got a commitment. Book it. Your book. We got you on there. That's it.
There it is.
There you are, Christy.
Christy's in. We got it locked in.
Cool.
It's happening. Okay, so Christy Love will make an appearance next week. All right, so normally rapid fire is a lot faster than this, but we have so much time to get into all of these matchups. We're going to slow it down a little bit, some of these. So we got some big matchups this week. We got some that we definitely are going to be rapid fire past. So let's slow it down in the beginning, and we'll speed it up, and then we'll slow it down again. All right. Going first, Buffalo hosting Miami. Big matchup, 1:00 kickoff here on CBS. Guys, let's expand on this one. We're going to slow this rapid fire down. We normally just throw the pick out there, give a couple of quick feelings. Let's dig deeper into this one. Okay, this is a big matchup. Battle for supremacy in the AFC East.
Who wants to go first?
Yeah.
I'll jump in, I guess.
Yeah, Greg, you can go ahead.
Miami's offense versus the Bills' defense is what this comes down to. And the Bills' defense is a hurting unit without Poyer out there. DeMar Hamlin is supposed to play today. Congratulations on that comeback. But you're going to be in for a world of hurt trying to stop Mr. Hill and Mr. Waddle. Because the Bills' defense is just not designed to do what Mr. Belichick did with the defense against Miami. They're going to get beaten up by Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill is going to have 170, 190 yard day today. And I think Miami just cruises.
Joe?
Oh, I think it's a question of how many points is Miami going to score. I mean, they're not going to score 70 again, but can they get a 50 piece today? I don't know. I just think that their offense, like Greg said, just so explosive. We didn't even talk about the running game at all. I think that defense is a little underrated, and I think we've seen Josh Allen with his propensity to turn the ball over, whether it be interceptions or fumbles. I think this could be probably one of the ugliest home losses Buffalo has this season. It's still an interesting game, and we'll see. I mean, two really good quarterbacks, but I think when the game goes final, it's going to be a Miami Dolphin win.
Yeah, I'm going with the Dolphins too. I don't think the Bills can keep up with the Dolphins today, especially if Josh Allen's going to be out there. Like all season, I haven't seen no trust in Josh Allen. He's been turning the ball over every single game, and especially the way Tua is playing very confident right now and getting Jalen Waddle back is huge for Tyreek Hill. Take some pressure off of him. You have Raheem Mostert, and you also had that rookie who had 150 yards last week. So I expect the Dolphins to lean more on the running game to control the tempo this week. So I got the Dolphins.
Yeah. It's interesting because with all the stuff we heard about Tua the last couple of years, he comes out this year and he's on a Dan Marino pace, right? You talk about it. He's at 1,000 yards passing in just 3 games. He's been lighting it up. 8 touchdowns, 2 INTs, so 4-1 clip. That's Marino-like numbers through 3 games. Can the Bills match their explosiveness? Can they slow them down? They didn't slow them down last year when they were playing with his backup out there.
That's right.
Yeah, good point.
So this is going to be a matchup where if the Bills are going to have to just pour it on offensively, find scores any way they can, get a defensive score, get some special team scores. Don't let Miami control the narrative if you want to win this game. They're playing hot right now, and they're coming to Buffalo when it's not cold. So they weren't intimidated by the cold when they were there last year. So this is going to be a matchup where I think right now it's the Bills are going to have to basically rope a dope their way through this. They got to sit there and weather the storm and keep battling and hopefully they can, catch Miami's defense. I think the weakness of Miami is the defense. If they can catch Miami and wear that defense down, they'll have the opportunity for a late game win. But I think that's got to be the key. They got to be able to get to the point where they're matching blows for 3 quarters. 4th quarter, we got that defense worn down, be able to get a lead and grind it out at the end, keep that ball away from Tua and that offense. I don't think that they can go out there and just go out there to shoot out and win. They got to be able to get a lead and grind it away from Miami in the 4th.
I just don't think the Buffalo Bills have enough explosive playmakers to keep up with Miami. I mean, we talk about Waddle, we talk about Hill, the stable of running backs. So Buffalo's kind of like, okay, it's Stephon Diggs, of course, Davis once in a blue moon, and that's really it as far as like explosive, consistent playmakers.
Oh, they have some guys, right? They still got Dalton Knox, right? We think of a couple of runners that they have that can control the game on the ground, and then you need Josh Allen to be special, right? You need him to go out there to make the big throws, yes, not turn the ball over, yes, but also extend plays, run for yards when there's everything's covered. You need Josh Allen to do special things. That's why? Because the guy that's on the other side that they drafted in the 1st round is starting to do special things. So you need your top 10 quarterback to do special things. He hasn't done special things this year. He may have done them a couple of times, but I think right now that's what you need is Josh Allen to go out there and be this elite quarterback that people keep claiming he is. He hasn't been elite this year. So, it's great when he goes out there and he makes the big run or the big throw in certain games, or he has a great game here. But elite quarterbacks are mostly consistent. They perform at an elite level, and every once in a while they have a poor game. It's not a guy who plays at a quality level and has elite games here and goes back to quality. That's not an elite quarterback. That's a good starter who has elite games here and there. There's a lot of quarterbacks in the league like that. That's not elite. Right now, the guy on the other side is playing elite football. He hasn't dipped down yet. So if Tua continues this pace all season, you can call Tua elite. You can't call Josh Allen that.
James Cook is no Austin Eckler who destroyed the Miami defense in week 1, despite the Miami victory.
Yeah.
So that's going to be the difference there.
And we got to see Tua be elite week 1, right? Come back and get the ball and go out of the field and say game over, right?
Yep.
We got to see him be elite. We didn't get a chance to see that yet from Josh Allen, right? The 3 interceptions versus the Jets to lose that game, right? So
Zach Wilson.
Yeah. Well, he almost made a legend out of Zach Wilson on that Monday Night Football.
He fooled everyone. He fooled everyone after that game.
Thank God, for a lot of Zach Wilson haters, thank God for the Dallas Cowboys because they kind of put him back to reality. Because had he gone out there against Dallas and had a great game, people would still be talking about the legend of Zach Wilson. No, it was just one bad game. Well, we've had 2 bad games since that week 1.
Yeah.
Always have his combine.
Yeah,
Yep.
and pro day. And pro
Yep,
day.
they'll always have
That-
your pro day.
Pro day is
That
what.
pro day,
Beautiful,
that pro day
beautiful
is what
day.
sold the Jets on
Yeah,
taking them.
we're seeing that a lot, aren't we? So
Oh yeah.
we move on from one big matchup to a matchup you probably want to rapid fire. Broncos Bears battle 0-3 teams. Somebody gets a win today, allegedly, because you can still tie in the NFL. So somebody gets a win today. Which one is it?
I go Broncos.
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 Yeah, much to the chagrin of Bears fans everywhere.
We're sorry, Christy.
I hear there's a bar. I hear there's a bar in Chicago, all right, who's doing the dreaded, I will pay a tab if they win today. Oh, a patron's going to fall for that one. All right? That's
yeah.
playing the lottery. That's because
Yep.
there's a lot of people down here in Tampa that did that. It was, oh, yeah, if they beat the Eagles, you know, we pay your tab. And a lot of people were upset with their bill at the end of the night because they were drinking. Well, there may be a lot of drunken Bears fans upset after this game if they lose to the Broncos, which I believe they will. Listen, the Broncos defense is historically bad. But despite the money they invested in it, they still can score points. Chicago's defense is playing bad as well, and their offense is matching them. So I think I'm going to go with the team that at least plays decent on one side of the football. So give me the Broncos. So we talked about Ravens, Browns. That are 1-2 teams. A lot of teams with similar records matched up this week. Titans, Bengals. Bengals going to Tennessee.
Bengals. Big game for Joe Burrow. Think he throws for 350. Jamar Chase 120 yards, 2 touchdowns, and Joe Mixon 100 yards in the game. It's a big game for the Bengals to get back into what they need to do.
Yeah, I'm with Cam. I say Bengals. I think Joe Burrow has a big game. I mean, you saw it was coming together a little bit. Him and Jamar Chase getting that chemistry. You saw flashes of it. Then they build off of that. They go to Tennessee and get the dub.
I'll take the Bengals, but not by very much because that Tennessee front seven is still damn good. They are tough.
Yeah.
I don't know about Mixon getting anywhere near 100.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Bengals. I think that they're playing a little bit better football. They still got a long way to go, but they play a little bit better football. I think there's a sense of urgency going on there. Like I said last week, when the owner scoops up your quarterback before practice, puts him on the golf cart, and takes him around for a chat. Yeah, there's a sense of urgency in that building. And it showed last week, and I think it's going to show again this week. I think they even that record. I think Tennessee, it's got something a little more than they had last year. They'll get better as the season goes along, especially with now I got Hopkins in the mix. They at least have another receiver besides Burks to throw the football to. Yeah, I think right now it's the Bengals who are going to be playing better, and they get the win. Don't be surprised the way Jacksonville's playing right now. That Tennessee is still in the mix for that division late in the season.
Oh, they'll be in the mix.
Colts hosting the Rams. 1-2 Rams. Colts 2-1. Surprising.
I'm on the Anthony Richardson train, especially after Greg's article and seeing him play. I go Colts. I think they get it done. Should never have beaten Baltimore, but hey, here you are, 2-1, a chance to be 3-1. I think Indianapolis wins this game.
Gotcha.
I feel like this game is just going to come down to if Matthew Stafford can stop turning the ball over. If Stafford doesn't turn the ball over, the Rams win easily. But if you allow Anthony Richardson to get going, especially, I think it's no stopping him right now if he can keep using his legs. But I think I got a close game. I'll go Colts.
And I'm gonna say the Colts take this one as well.
Wow, I have the chance to lone wolf on this one, huh?
Yeah, you
Kids got to
do.
learn to slide. Kids got to learn to slide.
So, yeah, listen, Puka Nacua has been the surprise of the year, right? We talk about receivers. We talked to the draft. They said he's a good quality receiver. He's going to add to somebody's. He's leading the receiving core with no Cooper Kupp there. When Cooper Kupp comes back, it's going to be an amazing tandem with those two. But Matthew Stafford is playing like Detroit Matthew Stafford. So the number of yards, 910 yards, 2 TDs, 4 INTs. That's disturbing. You're at a 1-to-2 clip on touchdown to interception ratio. All right, so that's not the Stafford that you need to win games. I think this is going to be a close game. I think it's going to come down to a turnover or a big play at the end. I'm going to take the Colts at home. So we're going to sweep out on the Colts on this one. Yeah. But, that's a very tenuous pick because if the Rams play better offensively without the turnovers, they could definitely win that game. But I'm going to take the home team in this case. All right, so here's another one of those 2-1 matchups. We talked about this one earlier. The solidify our picks, Bucks, Saints. Who do you have?
I go New Orleans.
Saints.
I go Bucks. Derek Carr comes back a little rusty. Baker Mayfield gets it done.
I think it'll be a defensive struggle in the end. I don't trust Dennis Allen in the final minutes of a game of a defensive struggle. Give me the Bucks. So, all right. And I'm not saying that as a Bucks reporter. Another tough matchup. We're going to switch to the NFC East. So we can give this one a little more light than normal. We've got time for rapid fire. We can slow it down here, turn it from rapid fire to a 6-shooter here. All right. So here we go. Eagles, 3-0 Eagles hosting the Commanders. And I know Julio's out there listening with rabbit ears waiting on for this one. So who do you got? Eagles, Commanders.
Mr. Commander.
Yeah, I'm thinking Bill Washington. I think that if they can use the same formula they used last year to beat Philadelphia when they were undefeated, I mean, you kind of got to contain Jalen Hurts. Don't let him use his legs. Play well, sound on defense. But the biggest thing for Washington, or the two biggest things, establish the running game with Gibson and Robinson. And Sam Howell's got to limit the turnovers. We can't have the interceptions, the fumbles, his pocket awareness, and trying to throw the ball in tight windows when it's really not there. We can eliminate that and have a good running game. We can get it done.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with them. Go with Washington. I feel like Jalen Hurts hasn't played up to his level all season, and I feel like the teams he's been matching up against, he's been having to. He had to depend on the running game and the defense. I feel like this is the game where they're actually going to need him to play like Jalen Hurts, and if he can't come through, this team's not going to win this game.
Yeah, the Eagles are 3-0 for a reason. The Commanders, surprisingly, 2-1. Right? Everybody thought, they beat Arizona, but they would lose the next game and then lose the game after that. Nope. The Commanders came out there and they won their games. Unfortunately, ran through a buzzsaw last week in Buffalo. I think this is going to be another win for the Eagles. I think they go 4-0. I don't think the Commanders are playing well enough to beat them in Philly. They may get them in Washington. I don't think they would get them in Philly. So I'm going to give this one to the home team again. I'm going to go with the Eagles in this matchup. All right. So here's another one most people want to rapid fire past. Okay. All right. 0-3 Vikings and 0-3 Panthers.
Vikings.
Panthers.
Question: Bryce Young's back, correct?
Doesn't say actually.
He's supposed to play.
That Panthers defense is pretty good, so I'm going to go Panthers.
I'm gonna go Panthers.
Yeah, I haven't seen the inactives for this morning, so
I'm gonna go Panthers.
Okay. I'm going to go Vikings. I just don't trust the Panthers as of yet. I think this is the game the Vikings win. They're playing a down opponent. They're not playing their best football, but they're not playing their worst either. They've been in their games. They just got to finish. They get it done against the Panthers, but that's not impressive. All right, so the 1-2 Texans hosting the 2-1 Steelers. Texans get their first win with C.J. Stroud last week.
Who has yet to throw an interception either.
Yeah. Well,
who said that Stroud was going to be a decent NFL quarterback in the draft? Who said that?
This is tough because Houston's defense is super decent.
Yeah, we did, Jeff.
He's still on the board. He's still up there on the board. All right. Yeah. Listen, he was my QB1 in the draft. So I'm feeling good about it. All those guys that said, "Oh, Ohio State quarterbacks don't do well." He's played very well coming out the gates.
I think the way he played in the college football playoff that last game was enough for me to see his fight, to see him go up against 7 or 8 first rounders that were going to be NFL players and still fight and not give up. That's all I needed to see. I had no doubts about that kid coming out of college. This is a tough one because DeMarco Ryan has their defense, at least in my opinion, playing really hard, good effort. And then Pittsburgh has been kind of down. I'll go Houston. I talked myself into it.
I'm also gonna take the Texans because after last week seeing 4 backup offensive linemen do a number that they did, I mean that was just an incredible performance. And sorry, Mello, but Pittsburgh gonna lose again.
If they win, he'll let us know. Don't worry, Greg.
Oh yeah.
He knows our ex.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Texans. I just don't trust Kenny Pickett, especially that offense just doesn't trust Kenny Pickett. He can't move the ball downfield. He's limited to only one guy in George Pickens, and George Pickens can't create separation off the line unless it's a push off. So other than that, I'm gonna go Texans.
Shots fired. Man. Young guys are bringing it this morning. Brock brought it all to the last word, and here's Cam bringing it. The ENF show. I think it's going to be a clean sweep on the Texans in this one because the one problem
Melo's going to have his draft saved for all of us individually.
Believe you me, every Steelers. I got a bunch of Steelers fans.
Yeah,
and they're going to be coming after me. How'd you pick against us? You never go against the family, as they would say, right? But no, listen. One team is offensively challenged. The other team is playing solid defense. Where the offense is learning how to move the football together. That quarterback is playing very well. I think he's going to face the fiercest pass rush he's faced all season so far this week. However, I do think that because Pittsburgh's offense is so inconsistent and it goes from mediocre to poor to mediocre to good at times, I'm going to go with the team that could actually score the points. So that's why I'm taking the Texans. They consistently score. The Steelers don't. Go down to a matchup of, once again, we talk about these teams with similar records. 1-2 Raiders at 1-2 Chargers.
Aiden O'Connell will start for the Raiders. But the Chargers are just going to be way too much for the Raiders defense to handle. Keenan Allen is going to have another massive, massive game.
Well, Brandon Staley, man, I don't know. I think Josh McDaniels might not make it to the whole season, so I'll go Chargers.
Yeah, this is kind of a tough one for me because at the end of the game, we talk about defense, but the Chargers defense cannot contain a lead all season, dating back to last season. I just feel like the Chargers are going to get up to a 14-point lead, and then it's going to come down to a Justin Herbert game-winning drive. So I'm actually going to take the Raiders in a big game for Josh Jacobs.
Ooh. Do we have a lone wolf in the house? We do, because I'm going to go Los Angeles Superchargers. Okay, there you go. All right, so 3-0 Niners hosting the 1-2 Cards.
Oh, come on. Niner game.
Greg,
this could be a trap game.
Contemplating.
What's that?
Still like you're still contemplating, Greg. Like
no, I'm not contemplating. I'm waiting for our other guest to.
Okay, so you wait for Cam. Okay, Cam, what you got?
Yeah, this is. I was thinking about it earlier, like looking at this game. This could be a trap game, but San Francisco has too much offensive firepower and defensive firepower to make this a trap game. So even if it's a poor game from Purdy, Christian McCaffrey's going to control the run game. So I got San Francisco.
I'll take the Niners.
Well, guess what? I'm going to lone wolf on this. I'm going to put them on upset alert. I think it's a battle of bully ball teams, and the Cardinals have been in and had leads in all 3 games so far this season. in the first half. Okay, finally they closed the deal against Dallas last week. They're playing confident. I think they steal one here. So I'm going to go lone wolf on that one. 1-2 Jets hosting the 2-1 Chiefs.
Oh God, Kansas City, no laugher.
Yeah, this is going to be another Taylor Swift event. I figure 15 shots of her at least, because the Chiefs will be up like 38-3 in no time. Yeah, it's the Chiefs.
Yeah, this is the game for the Jets defense to make a stand. Like, this is the game for Sauce Gardner and DJ Reed to show why they're the best cornerback duo in the league and why we view Sauce as a generational talent. But I just have no trust in Zach Wilson. I have no trust in the offensive line and their run protection. Breece Hall can't even find gaps. Dalvin Cook can't even get outside runs. So I got the Chiefs by 24 in the first half.
Oof.
That's the heck of a quarterback tandem. Unfortunately, they don't cover tight ends. I think that's going to be a matchup where they struggle. I think that it's going to be close. It's not going to be a blowout right away. Kansas City is not playing that style of football right now, unless they play in Chicago. So therefore, I'm going to take the Chiefs in a late blowout. One in Cowboys coming off the brutal loss in Arizona. The Patriots hanging in there at 1-2, trying to get back to 500.
I can't wait to hear what Greg has to say.
Mr. DeMarcus Lawrence spoke to the defense this week about playing against the run and setting an edge. Dan Quinn was also focused on that because the Cowboys went sack crazy. They tried to sack Josh Dobbs. Well, when you do that, that's why you give up 222 yards on the ground. Ramondre Stevenson and Ezekiel Elliott are not going to get that many yards today. This is the Cowboys' day.
Yeah, I feel like this is a big day for Michael Parsons. At the minimum, 2 sacks. Just feel like Belichick's just running out of juice. I feel like his playbook dating back to 1980 is just all washed up. So this is his demise and his downfall is coming soon. So I got Cowboys. Expect a big no turnover day from Dak Prescott.
Yeah,
I think New England finds a way to muck it up, like they always do. I feel the way, because this is an explosive Dallas offense. I mean, talk about Miami having playmakers all over the field. So does Dallas. It's not just CeeDee Lamb. It's not just Pollard. There's multiple guys that can take the ball, and if you don't make a short tackle, they're taking it to the house. But if there's anybody who can muck it up and make it look bad and slow it down, it's Bill Belichick. I think they find a way. Him and Mac Jones, they find a way. A late field goal, squeaker, 2017 victory. I'm going New England.
Lone wolfing it is Joe Cardoso in this matchup because guess what? I'm going with the boys. I think the one thing they don't struggle against are non-mobile quarterbacks. Guess what? You got Mac Jones. He's right up your wheelhouse. You know he's going to be in the pocket. You know where he'll be. Straight ahead runs don't hurt them. Quarterbacks that can zone read hurt them a lot. You see it with Jalen Hurts when they play against him. You see it when they play against Daniel Jones. When they know Daniel Jones is going to be in the pocket, it's all over. When Daniel Jones gets to run, he gives them issues. Sam Howell, able to run, gave him issues last year. Carson Wentz started, they beat the heck out of him. So, yeah, they know where Mac Jones is going to be. Unfortunately, so does Micah Parsons and DeMarcus Lawrence. They're going to see him a lot today. Give me Dallas over New England. All right, Monday night matchup that closed this out. 2-1 Seahawks at 1-2 Giants.
Geno Smith goes wild. Yeah, this is going to be Seattle.
I'll go Seattle as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely going Seattle. Don't trust Daniel Jones, especially that offense and that defense is not looking good right now. So I'm definitely expecting a huge day from Geno Smith in a run game with Kenneth Walker.
And still no Saquon, right?
He's
Saquon.
questionable.
No
He's
Saquon.
not.
Yeah,
He's
I
not
see.
going to play. He's
That's
not going
right.
to play.
So yeah, if even if he was playing, I don't think he's 100%.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Seattle. I think you need a healthy Saquon for this matchup because you're still trying to figure out your receiver situation. The guys you signed, they're not getting Waller involved enough. And on the outsides, they're not getting consistent production on the outside. So, yeah, I'm going to go Seattle as well. I think the NFC West bully ball tactic seems to work versus the NFC East a lot. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Seahawks. All right. So, that is our time. We hope you folks get to enjoy the action coming up. Once again, the 1 o'clock matchups are about 55 minutes away. So make sure you enjoy those. We'll be back here next week. Once again, last word, followed by us moving the chains. Hopefully we have Ashby back. She's been jet setting the past 2 weeks. So you had to see my face a little more than normal. Thanks to Cam for coming on. Christy,
Yeah,
we'll
appreciate
see you next week. By hook or by crook, we will see you next week. We've booked you. That's the last word on that. But definitely, everybody, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week. Thanks again. This has been Moving the Chains.